Introducing YouTube memberships, a fun way to support the channel while getting some exclusive perks. Click the join button to become a member now and get benefits like badges next to your name on videos, behind-the-scenes photos, advantages during the live trivia game, discounts on merchandise, private one-on-one video chats, the ability to request future video topics, and exclusive 8 to 10 minute videos on the history of the NFL. And now, on with our feature presentation. November 20th, 2023. It's week 11 of the NFL season, and we've got an interconference battle on our hands down at NRG Stadium between the Arizona Cardinals and the Houston Texans. Even though this game means a ton to the Texans, seeing as they are shockingly above 500, and a win here makes next week's matchup against the Jaguars decide first place in the AFC South, which just seems like an absolutely crazy statement. For the Cardinals, this season has not gone too well in the win-loss column, which is probably not all that surprising, but it doesn't make it any less painful sitting at 2-8 after losing 6 of your last 7. A loss here clinches a losing season, and while no one in their right mind is thinking about the playoffs, would basically officially end any chances of making it whatsoever. As for how the game goes, the bad news for the Cardinals is that after an amazing first half from rookie quarterback CJ Stroud, where he led 3 touchdown drives and threw 2 touchdown passes, the second of which was one of the best throws and catches of the entire season to Tank Dell, the Cards find themselves down 21-10. The good news, at the very least, is that they have a chance to cut into the deficit and make it a one-score game. With the ball at the 27-yard line, they have 2 timeouts and 17 seconds left. Not ideal by any means, but you can absolutely get into field goal range if you play your cards right, as you have the entire middle of the field open and available at your disposal. First play, and Kyler Murray completes a 12-yard pass to Greg Dortch to get the Cards to the 39-yard line. Good start. Cards burn their second timeout. Second play, and Murray finds tight end Trey McBride for a 7-yard gain to the 46-yard line. Cards burn their final timeout. Alright, if you're this man right here, head coach Jonathan Gannon, you've got to be feeling really good about that. Seriously, you went about 20 yards in 11 seconds, and you now have a legitimate chance of scoring and cutting this to a one-possession game. You have 6 seconds left, and while you have no timeouts, you have plenty of time to run a play to the sideline to get into field goal range. About 10 more yards on a quick pass, and you can try a field goal from Matt Prater, who's got one of the strongest legs in all of football. One more quick play to get a bit closer, and then you can either try the field goal or the Hail Mary if need be. Plenty of time to run something quick here. Plenty of time to run something super quick that gets out of bounds and gets you into Prater's range for a field goal.
And now they're up where they weren't there before.
Cover the near side of the field. Murray stepping up in the pocket.
Or that. Or you could try a Hail Mary, thereby ensuring that this is the final play of the half. But there's time to run another play. Reaching the end zone is tough enough as it is from your own territory. And you're going to try here where you don't need to yet? And when you can get into field goal range or try a closer Hail Mary? Why are you trying the Hail Mary right now? There's 6 seconds left. Why didn't you call another play? Why didn't you call another play?
I'm winding down. 2 seconds left, going toward the end zone. For more, it's deflected and incomplete.
Great job batting it down.
Welcome to Dumb Decisions. Before I break down what happened here, this whole series is about taking an in-depth look at decisions made during games that were clearly awful from the start. This isn't something to look bad in hindsight. Rather, this is something to look awful almost immediately. These are moves where your gut instinct tells you right away that there is no way this can possibly work. And sure enough, your gut instinct was smarter than that of an NFL head coach. And for this one, we're going to take a look at the mind of Arizona Cardinals head coach Jonathan Gannon. I don't know what to make of Gannon just yet. I honestly don't. The Cardinals play super hard under him, and even though they don't have a lot of talent, they look a heck of a lot better than they have any right to. Especially now with Kyler Murray back, I don't even think at this moment that they're a bottom 5 team in football. But Gannon as the head coach when it comes to in-game decision-making? Yeah, he's got a ton of growing up to do. He made an absolutely idiotic decision a few weeks ago against the Seattle Seahawks, when he ran one of the worst fake punts of the entire season, which you can learn more about by clicking the card in the upper right corner. And now, he does this, which I'm at a loss on as to why he decided to try. So with that being said, let's take a look at why trying a Hail Mary with 6 seconds left and the ball at your own 46-yard line is a really bad idea. I want to make something very clear. If there were 3 seconds left, or 4 seconds left, or heck, even 5 seconds left, I'm not hating this strategy one bit. With that little time left, if you have a quarterback that can reach the end zone, and you know that your kicker can't reach from that distance, and obviously you're not trying a 72-yard field goal unless your name is Lane Kiffin, then screw it. Throw up the Hail Mary and take your chances from there. But let's face it, a Hail Mary is a super low probability play. Odds are, you're not converting one, especially if you're throwing this on your own side of the field, where it's tough to even reach the end zone, let alone convert the play. The goal on this drive is simple. Try your absolute hardest to get points so you can cut it to a one-possession game. And here, you're quite possibly 5 yards out of field goal range from Matt Prater. Matt Prater's longest field goal of the season is 62 yards, which is the longest kick by anyone in the NFL this season. His longest kick ever was 64 yards. Granted, that was a mile high, but still, the man's got a cannon of a leg. Right now, you're at your own 46-yard line. If you get to the opposing 45, so not even 10 yards, you can try a field goal with Prater. So with 6 seconds left, needing just 8 yards to get yourself points and get into field goal range, why the heck are you trying the Hail Mary? Seriously, why are you trying the Hail Mary here? Again, the goal is to get points and make it a one-score game. So which gives you a better chance of doing that? Picking up 8 yards or picking up 54 yards? Obviously, it's the 8-yard play. With that in mind, let's look at the risk and reward of trying an out route, which is what anyone would have done in that spot that had a brain, versus trying the Hail Mary. If you try the out route, the pro is that if you convert it, you're in field goal range. The Texans are playing soft. They're playing for the Hail Mary, and I'm not entirely sure why. They've got everyone in the end zone, and they've got 3 on the line. That's it. The odds that you can convert this are pretty high. Convert the 8-yard pass or 10-yard pass or whatever you want to call it, and you're well within field goal range for Matt Prater to try something at the end of the half without it being too outlandish so as to risk a run back for a touchdown, a la what happened with him back in 2021 against the Jaguars with Jamal Agnew, in the only highlight of Jacksonville's disastrous season that year. Get the out route, and you can walk away with points. But what happens if you don't get the out route? Which is a possibility, but what happens if you don't get it? Well, guess what? There's no way that the play takes 6 seconds. Call a play like this, call a play like the out route, and it's taking 4 seconds tops. That means that you're still going to have a play with 2 or 1 second left on the clock. And that means that if this doesn't work, or it does and you're not crazy about Prater trying a field goal from here, you can still try the Hail Mary. You literally have nothing to lose. If you get the out route, you can try a field goal. Or you can try a Hail Mary from a much closer distance where you have a better chance of reaching the end zone. And again, there's no risk of taking a sack since you're getting the ball out super quick and the Texans are only rushing 3. If you don't get the out route, you can still try a Hail Mary. Unless you have that little faith in your franchise quarterback that you think he will screw up this play, you will definitely have times where another play at the same spot they are at right now, or at a better spot in the absolute worst case scenario. That's what makes no sense about this entire sequence. 6 seconds is plenty of time to actually run a play, especially because the play before this one literally only took 5 seconds, and that wasn't even entirely by design. So you knew that, and you literally had nothing to lose by calling one here. Because when it comes to the alternative of the Hail Mary, again, the odds that you're going to convert it are pretty slim. I know we've seen Kyler do it before back in 2020 against the Buffalo Bills, but come on. That was from a much closer distance, and that was also with one of the best jump ball receivers potentially in NFL history, in DeAndre Hopkins. It still doesn't change the fact that it's a super low probability play. It's like if you get a perfect score on a test where you didn't study and you just circle all the answers at random. Sure, you did it before, but that was a 10-question test where each question had 2 answers, and not a 30-question test where each question had 4 answers. And you have to admit that the odds of this actually worked were pretty slim in the first place. If you convert the Hail Mary in that insanely unlikely scenario, great. But odds are you're not converting it. You're just not. And if it fails, as it probably will, you will walk away from this drive empty-handed and down by 2 scores. Which again, is not why I'm blaming Kyler on this play or the receivers or anything like that. Because Hail Marys are notoriously tough to convert. But it just raises the obvious question of why you wouldn't try to get a bit closer so you could either have a much more realistic shot at reaching the end zone, or so you could try the field goal and cut it to a 1-score game. That's the part that's killing me here. It's almost like this. Imagine if you were a student taking a test. And I hate to use that example again, but it just makes the most sense to do it. And the teacher says that for this page of the test, which contains 2 questions, all you have to do is get one of them right, and you receive full credit. Option 1 is a 2-part question where the first part is super easy, and the second part isn't quite as easy, but it's absolutely doable, seeing as it builds on part 1. Option 2, however, is a super hard question on something that you've never learned before, and where you're reading the prompt, and it looks as though it was written in a completely different language. Time is not an issue here, and the teacher openly encourages you to answer both questions, so it's not like it's a one or the other situation. And you decide not to answer the 2-part question, and decide to not even attempt it, and instead, just decide to do the second question, where you have no idea what it is. Well, that's what this was like. Option 1 was the 2-parter, where the first part was the super easy out route, and the second part was the field goal attempt. Option 2 was the Hail Mary from your own territory that you could still try if you didn't feel comfortable with your answer on the 2-part question. Any way you want to slice it, the Cards chose the option with the worst probability. You either get yards to make it a makeable field goal, you either get yards to make the Hail Mary closer, or you don't get any of that, and you're just going to try the same play that you would have with 2 seconds or 1 second on the clock as you called here with 6 seconds. Either way, you had nothing to lose, and for that reason, nothing about this decision, I truly mean it, nothing about this decision made any sense whatsoever. The strategy by Cardinals head coach Jonathan Gannon in the game between these 2 teams behind me right here was very interesting to say the least. On one hand, he was super aggressive, almost aggressive to a fault. They went for it 4 times on 4th down during the game, including 1 time on 4th and 3 that I absolutely did not agree with at all. They had it at Houston's 23-yard line. It was super early in the 4th quarter, and a field goal cuts it to a 2-point game. But they decided to go for it, and they didn't get it. And then on the other hand, you had Gannon not being aggressive and doing, well, whatever the heck this was at the end of the half by calling the Hail Mary right away, instead of trying an out route to get a bit closer and maybe give yourself some more points. I don't know what Jonathan Gannon was thinking on this day, but his strategy definitely cost the Cardinals in a big-time way as they lost their 9th game of the season. Just didn't seem to make a whole lot of sense to me. So what do we learn from all of this? 6 seconds is plenty of time to call a play, especially when the other team is super relaxed in their coverage. If you have 2 options, and option 1 allows you a better chance of scoring points than the second option, then take the first option. If you have 2 options, and option 1 allows you to pick up more yards and make your life easier with no risk whatsoever than the second option, then take the first option. If you have 2 options, and the worst case scenario in option 1 means you're just going to do the play over again and do option 2, and option 2 allows you no room for error whatsoever and is significantly tougher for that reason, along with others, then take the first option. If option 1 in the worst case scenario just gets you to option 2, and option 2 in the worst case scenario gets you nothing, then take the first option. If you have a better chance to score points, and in the worst case scenario, it's no harm done because you can try again, then why you wouldn't try that, I honestly have no idea. But Jonathan Gannon's philosophy in general just didn't seem to make a whole lot of sense on this day, and it ended up costing the Cardinals in a big-time way. The entire complexion of this scheme looks a lot different if the Cards can cut it to a one-score game at the half, and the out-route field goal plan, or the out-route significantly closer Hail Mary where Kyler could actually reach the end zone, would have given you a much better shot than whatever the heck this was. I'll just put it that way. Because when all these elements are in play, you can't exactly be surprised when this play backfires. Talk about a dumb decision. Get your official Jaguar Gear 9 merchandise by going to jj9shop.com, and be sure to like and subscribe, as it really helps the channel out a lot. Join me every Wednesday night where we'll play NFL Trivia for cash prizes at 9 p.m. Eastern over on Twitch. To learn more about the history of college football, subscribe to Jaguar Gator 8. To learn more about the history of Major League Baseball, subscribe to Jaguar Gator 7. Also, special thanks to all of our Patreon supporters for helping out the channel. Your support is greatly appreciated. See how you can become a patron and request future video topics in the description below.